Shep.
Rich, thanks. Judge Andrew Napolitano here for both of these matters regarding the president and foreign interference. But first, Kellyanne Conway. They're very clear. The office is headed by a man who was appointed by President Trump.
Right.
And it said, if left unpunished, her actions send the message to other government employees that they need not abide by the Hatch Act.
The Hatch Act applies to all government employees except for the president and the vice president, that they cannot engage in partisan politics while on federal property or using federal assets.
And she did it on our air.
Correct. Correct. It seems like a pretty clear-cut case to me, and it seems like her behavior is repeated. This statute, which goes back to the FDR era, is so well abided that members of Congress know that they can't engage in partisan political politics on the telephone from their own offices in the House of Representatives.
They have to go to the call
Senate.
center.
Correct.
Yep. All right. On the other matter, interference. Is there any gray area? Is there any wiggle room? Is there any way to argue that dirt from a foreign entity on a political opponent would be something that you can receive legally? Any wiggle room at all?
There is no wiggle room with respect to dirt, with respect to opposition research, because the Federal Election Commission has already decided in other cases that that is, quote, a thing of value. The phrase a thing of value.
Money or a thing of value.
Correct. Comes from the statute, which prohibits receipt of money or a thing of value from a foreign national, whether the person is working for a foreign government or not.
So what the president said he would do to George Stephanopoulos, if he did it, would be felonious.
Correct. Meaning he would be committing a felony, and the person giving it to him, if that person was ever here and subject to our jurisdiction, would be committing a felony as well.
If you're sitting in Riyadh or in Moscow watching the telly, and you hear the president say, I would accept it, what sort of message does that send to you who want to curry favor with the leader of the free world?
To give him what you think will help him either in his work as president or in his candidacy for re-election. I mean, this was debated very loud and long in the Citizens United case, in which the Supreme Court basically said money is an expression of an opinion. So you can spend all your own money you want, and the federal regulations prohibiting you from spending your own money are unconstitutional. It expressly says this does not pertain to foreign nationals who still cannot influence an American campaign with money or a thing of value.
In 2016, or prior to, the president, the then candidate Donald Trump, said to the Russians, come on, give me a hand here. And they did. And part of the argument was, well, he's not a career politician. He's a businessman. He's a real estate guy. He didn't know better. There's no not knowing better now. Well, so what might be a motivation to say such a thing?
Look, the president has argued that he has the freedom of speech, and he is the head of the country, and he is the head of the free world, and he can listen to any information he wants. That is true, except if he is a candidate, then what he receives is regulated by federal laws that he took an oath to uphold. And among those laws are you cannot take something, accept something, receive something from a foreign national under the guise of being the head of state or because you want to use it for your campaign.
That would be a felony.
That would be a felony. So this is not an area of the freedom of speech. This is not the president saying, well, I speak to foreign leaders all the time. This is...
He compared it. Look, did you see the tweet? Look at the tweet this morning. There was another tweet storm this morning. I meet and talk to foreign governments every day. I just met with the Queen of England, the Prince of Wales, which has been corrected here in this second version, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister of Ireland, the President of France, the President of Poland. We talked about everything. Should I immediately call the FBI about these calls and meetings? As if he doesn't know the difference between lunch with the Queen of England and stuff coming from a Russian translator.
Lunch with the Queen of England is not regulated speech. Information coming into the campaign, something of value, is regulated and is prohibited, as I said, in laws that he swore to uphold.
Here's a new thing, a brand new thing that's about to happen in the Senate, and we'll have live coverage of that in just a moment. It's new to us. Democrats in the Senate are working on new legislation that would make it a requirement of law, not just of rules and regulations, as previously stated, but a requirement of law that you report such contacts to the FBI. It's already illegal and would be a felony to accept such information in the way of a thing of value, but now they want to make it a law that you have to report to the
You know,
FBI.
it's interesting because the FBI director said under oath at his confirmation hearing in response to a question from Senator
Lindsey Graham,
of all people, yes, this should be reported immediately. The president told George Stephanopoulos the FBI director is wrong. Such a statute would clarify this and impose upon the president, whoever that may be, more of a burden to enforce these laws on him or herself, as well as on anybody else running for office.
When you heard this, what was your first reaction?
The President of the United States of America is prepared to commit a felony to get reelected. That was my reaction, and it was not a happy one. I was not happy to hear it. I thought he shot himself in the foot politically, and I wished he hadn't said it, but he did.
Judge, thank you. Ahead, that Senate action that I was telling you about for a new law regarding reporting to the FBI. We'll have live coverage of that. And then there's the bombshell from the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, who